Hello, is available?
This is he.
It's Marc Stevens. I'm on the line with Mr. Do you have a few minutes?
I would appreciate it if Mr. could give me a call directly.
Yes, hello.
I know
This is he.
since this is, I'm sorry?
Hi, Mr. This is. I'm here as well.
What can I do? Oh, what can I do for you?
Well, we had a couple of questions regarding the account.
Which account would you be referring to?
The account that's being from Mr. is a notice of deficiency that was sent in his name.
Okay. What can I tell you about the notice of deficiency?
I had spoken with and she said that she did not know who okayed the escalation to the notice of deficiency, and she said that she would have the auditor or the agent responsible for that call back. So first question is, are you the one responsible for okaying the escalation to a notice of deficiency?
I'm not exactly sure how to answer that question. The revenue agent that audited Mr. is responsible for sending the case to us. He and his group manager make that decision.
Okay. Well, so you did approve this escalation. You reviewed the file and you approved that it be escalated to a notice of deficiency?
My job is to review cases that are sent to me for issuance of the notice of deficiency.
Okay. And you were satisfied that there was enough evidence there to warrant an escalation?
I'm not clear what it is you're asking me. Enough evidence. I reviewed the case. I believe that it was legally sufficient, and yes, we issued the notice of deficiency.
So you were satisfied that there was sufficient facts and evidence to support the conclusions that the made, and that you were okay with escalation?
Like I say, the case was sent to me. I didn't make that decision. Once it's sent to me, I review it to make sure that the conclusions are technically correct. And yes, her conclusions are technically correct.
Were all of her conclusions supported by evidence?
I don't see the point of all of this. If you would like to argue this, you should file for tax court, but you missed that deadline. Now, like I explained, your options are to request an audit reconsideration and go back and talk to Ms. about whatever it is that you have a dispute with, or pay the tax.
Well, I understand it. What you're saying that first, I'm just asking. Well, let me finish, please. I'm not arguing anything. I'm just asking you a question. And
Mr.
The tax court, it's misleading to say the tax court because you can't argue that stuff in the tax court. You can only argue the amount.
Mr.
So you can just repeat what I'm saying if you're comfortable, so we can get an answer.
Well, sure. Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt, so go ahead. You can continue your question, Mark.
Yeah, it's a very simple question, sir. Were you satisfied by your review? Did your review satisfy that Mrs. or Ms. claims were supported by the evidence?
Mrs. claims are supported by the evidence. The evidence being that that Mr. didn't provide any documentation to support what's on his tax return. Yes, I was satisfied with that.
Were you satisfied that there was evidence to prove that there was jurisdiction?
That he didn't support, that Mr. failed to provide any documentation to support what he reported on his tax return? Yes. I'm convinced that he did not provide any documentation to support what was on his tax return.
Are you convinced that there's sufficient evidence in the file that would support the claim that just because he's physically in Colorado, that a written instrument called the Constitution applies to him.
All right. Mr. Stevens, have a nice day.
Well, don't hang up.
I'm done talking to you.
No, don't. Wait,
no,
maybe,
sir. Mr. Stevens.
Maybe your supervisor.
I'm finished. I'm not here to argue with you about the law or anything else. I'm not here to argue with you. Period, Mr.
No one's trying to argue with you.
I've advised you how to proceed. I'm not here to debate, discuss, or anything else. I've explained to you what your options are. I've answered your questions in regard to the statutory notice of deficiency, and I'm done. Have a nice day.
Wait, we need a fax number?
Before you go, we need that fax number.
Fax number for whom?
Before you go. For you.
Fax number for whom?
Well, we need to get the audit reconsideration request in.
Okay. That would be...
Okay. And who is your manager's or your supervisor's name and ID number, please?
My supervisor's name is... I don't know his ID number.
Do you have a contact number?
Oh, absolutely.
Great. Thank you.
So before you hang up, but do you believe the Constitution does apply to Mr. or to Mr.
I'm not going to answer that question.
Why?
I'm not an attorney.
So you can't. So
and I wouldn't pretend to be an attorney.
Okay, so.
And I'm not. You're not entitled to my opinion. So.
Well, it's
have
kind
a
of
nice afternoon. Bye bye.
Kind of a.
We don't want your opinion.
You're asking for my opinion, Mr.
No, you're in a position making legal determinations about my life.
No,
you need to have more than opinions.
Well, actually, you did. You okayed and you were part of the process okaying an escalation, and some part of that okaying is being satisfied that the Constitution does authorize and give jurisdiction to the IRS to do what it's doing.
Mr. Stevens, Mr. I'm going to put you on hold. Hang on, just a second. I'm going to put you on hold. Mr.
Oh, it's Marc Stevens.
Mr. There's a gentleman that...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. So I believe that... I'm not sure that I can help you anymore. Matter of fact, I'm positive I can't help you anymore. So you got a fax number to send in the reconsideration. You really need to get that in within the next couple of days, so that we can, if you want us to send the case back to the field and have them discuss it with you. Okay.
Yeah, we'll take care of that. I appreciate the information. It's just it just seems to be kind of a knee-jerk reaction when someone's just asking a question to avoid answering the question. You just accuse them of debating or arguing, and that's not what we're doing. So, just a simple question: do you believe that the Constitution applies to Mr. Just because
you're not entitled to me? I'm not going to tell you what I believe and what I don't believe, Mr. Stevens.
Do you believe that Mr. has a tax?
Nice day.
Do you believe he has a tax liability?
Yes, I guess I do believe that he has a tax liability.
And isn't that based on the Constitution applying?
Well, once again, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a lawyer. I didn't,
So you're qualified to make a determination he has a tax liability, but you're not qualified to answer a question on whether the Constitution applies to create that tax liability.
That's correct.
So what makes you qualified to say that there's a liability?
All of the people that paid him money that he deposited into his bank accounts.
Is that money and all the people that paid money, does that prove that the Constitution applies to him just because he's in Colorado?
Proved that it proved that, well,
I know, it's tough.
I'm sorry. You guys have a nice afternoon, okay?
You don't need...
It was a pleasure
we were
talking
getting
to you.
somewhere. We were getting somewhere, sir. You don't need to...
Yeah,
to
we'll see you. We'll see you. Good luck, and we'll best wishes for you, and have a nice afternoon. Bye-bye.
Wow. He bailed that time. Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Can I delete your name or bleep your name, the names out, and post that?
Oh, of course.